Right, hi everyone. I do apologise about the mess up. It just wasn't working on YouTube, unfortunately. So I'm having to go live on here. I'm really hoping we get a few of you join. Because obviously there was I've sort of shared it to everyone saying that I'll be on YouTube, and now I'm not. But I will upload the video to YouTube later on, so hopefully you'll all catch it. I think maybe we'll have to do a little test to see what's going on there. I don't know. Technology can be a real pain at times, can't it? Yeah, I don't know what was up with it. I just couldn't. I think me and Laura couldn't sort of find where it was on there. But anyway, never mind. We'll get there eventually. I think we'll probably have to do a bit of a test run on that. I didn't seem to have any of these problems when I done it previously, but they keep changing everything, don't they, and making things very complicated. So hi Laura. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I said perhaps afterwards we can have a bit of a chat and see when you've got some free time, and we'll see if we can figure out how to do it maybe. Yeah, I don't know what was up with it. But yeah, it's been a bit of a chaotic run up to this. I think I was supposed to attempt to go live earlier, but then had a bit of a crisis, and I managed to lock myself in the conservatory, which is my craft room. And I think I'd closed the door, and when I closed it, I've got like a dog crate thing that we sometimes put the rabbit in. And it had fallen behind the conservatory door, and it had trapped me in here, which was fine because, you know, I was going to do the live and everything, but my mum's actually popped out, so I've got no means of getting into the rest of the house. So I just managed to catch her before she went to have her hair done, to come and unlock my front door so that I could remove the dog crate and get back in here. It was a bit of a nightmare, but hey, we're here now. I said it wouldn't have probably been a big deal if she wasn't going out, because she'd have had the key, but I had to deal with that and then come on and, yeah, the mess up with YouTube. Anyway, never mind. Hopefully the live goes to plan. Hi, not your fault at all, Dena. Yeah, let me know when you're free and we'll try and figure it out. Hi, Joe. Hi, Mum. Mum's obviously watching at the hairdressers, so hello Michelle, I don't know if you can hear as well. Anyway, yeah, I had these here because I was going to go on YouTube a little bit earlier. I was just going to waffle on a little bit while a few people joined, but now I've got them here. I will show you. This is the card that I actually posted up earlier on, sorry, not earlier on, yesterday. I have got a couple of other Christmas cards that I might just show you while we're waiting for a few more people to join. I haven't posted these ones yet, but I've been playing around with some stencils. I use this lovely stencil here, which I was sort of flicking through some stencils. I don't think it's got a code on. I haven't cleaned it up very well. Look, I was going through some stencils yesterday, I think it was, and I just thought that, well, I think I used this on as a Moroccan theme in the summer, or when it first came out. But I sort of thought it looked a bit like a snowflake. So I had a bit of a play and I made these two cards from it. This one here, I just used some, oh, what paint was it? Got it here. It's one of the pearl paints. I think, is it like an iridescent gold? I don't know if I can find it that easy. Oh, there it is. So that one I just used, yeah, so interference gold, multi-surface paint. I just stenciled through with a little sponge. And then the sentiment is from the Pablo set. This one here. I used Christmas wishes. I think I stamped it in like a sort of light brownish colour. I'm not sure what colour it was now. And then embossed it with some glitter embossing powder. And this one here, I used the texture paste. Which one was it? That was the light texture paste that I used through the stencil on this one. And then I used some of this Eco Glitter, the Pentart Eco Glitter. Now, I've never used this before, but it is actually really, really nice. Does make a lot of mess. It seems to be a lot more fine than normal glitter, and it's a bit, I don't know, it actually reminds me of the gilding flakes. It sort of just flicks and flies everywhere. But it's really, really pretty. I think I need to get a few more colours really. So I used that on this. I don't know if you can see the shine there. But yeah, I really like that. I'll be using that again. But yeah, I just thought it looked a bit like a snowflake. I said I haven't posted photos of these ones yet. I'll put some photos up on the group a little bit later on. Right, let's get them out the way. So today I'm going to be playing with the lovely, I can never say it properly, the Cog clock. It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? I think it is such great value, this clock. You get the whole thing, everything you need to make a clock. I haven't taken all this out yet. I've left it in the pack because I have a bit of a habit of losing things. As you well know, I'm always putting stuff down on my desk and things just seem to disappear. So let me just get these out. Right, so you get literally everything you need. You get the whole mechanism. I'll just turn it around actually so you can see. So the whole mechanism for the, the battery and everything. I will take this off in a minute because I've obviously got to decorate it. The clock hands and all the numbers for it. And I think, was it up at $5.99, Laura? I can't remember the price. I'm sure it was $5.99. I should maybe keep my mouth closed until Laura's answered that in case I've got that wrong. But it is very, very good value. I mean, this would make such a lovely gift. If you've decorated a clock. $6.69, sorry, I told you I think I've got it wrong. Do you know why? I think I was looking at something else on the website last night and that's why I've got my prices muddled up. So $6.69 this is. I mean, that is such good value for the whole kit. You've got the MDF piece, the clock mechanism and everything. That's the whole lot. And you can just decorate it really with things you've got, or some other pieces. But once you've got the other pieces, you can use them on other things, not just this. So yeah, it is such good value. And I said they would make great Christmas presents for people, and it's a handmade gift then. Right, I'm just going to try and pop all this to the side. So I'm just going to take this apart. Just working out if I need the spannery thing. Right. I've got a little pot to the side of my desk that I can put all these little pieces in. So that I don't lose them, because as I said, I do have a habit of losing things. So that's all off to the side. I'm afraid I am going to be using the heat gun quite a lot during today's live, because I'm going to be using texture paste again. Now I'm going to be pairing this up with this gorgeous Cog stencil. I said I have made one of these previously, but I thought I'd do a bit of a demo on how I actually made it. Yeah, I think it's quite a fun thing to do with the texture paste. It's excellent value for money, and we have a steampunk one on our wall in the workroom. Oh, you'll have to, yeah, we'll post a picture afterwards. I was going to say you'll have to post a picture of that. So Jo will post a picture of her one later on. Yeah, I mean, they're great. You can either keep it for yourself or do it as a little gift. They're brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to be pairing it up with this, and I'm going to be using the texture sand paste. I'm going to be going for a bit of a sort of rusty look on this. But yeah, I'll show you how I create that sort of a little bit later on. Now I'm just going to grab some paper, because I do make quite a mess with the texture paste, and I don't want to get my mat too messy. I know it's called a messy mat, but I am usually very messy when it comes to using paints and textures and everything else. Right, so whoops. So I'm just going to grab my little spreader. I think I'll use this. Now the numbers do fit. I'll kind of explain this a little bit first. The numbers do fit perfectly on the little bits that stick out. Not sure what you call them, but yeah. And what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm not putting too much texture in the areas where the numbers are going to sit, purely because then obviously sticking them down can be a little bit problematic. So I'm going to try and make sure that it's not right smooth, but not too sort of textured. So I'm not going to have the too much of the cog stencil showing through on them areas. So I'm just going to go in, I think, and start. And I'm just going to sort of go in for random. You can always sort of move the stencil about. So obviously I know it doesn't fill the complete piece, but it doesn't matter. Sounds a little bit like buttering toast, doesn't it? The spreading the texture paste. I think I'll do, I'm trying to work it out, right, a bit over here I think. And then I might not actually need to move the stencil around. No, I think I'll leave it at sort of where it is. It'll be clear in a minute. Right, I think maybe, so I don't need to go right to the edge. I think maybe I'm going to leave it like that. I can always add a little bit more. Now what I would do is dump that straight in a bowl of water or take it off to the kitchen sink. I'm not going to do that while I'm live. So what I'm just going to do is pop it down on the floor, and I'm just going to give it a bit of a spritz with some water. Sorry about that. I just don't want it setting too hard that I then can't work with it. Now these areas around it, all I'm just going to do is sort of fill it in really. Just make it a bit sort of textured. Now you can overlap where the cogs are. You know, it doesn't matter if you sort of smudge it a little bit just to sort of blend it in. You could sort of add a few more sort of right to the tips, but you know, I'm not going to worry too much about that. I probably should have gessoed this before, but I think because I'm going to be using quite dull colours, it doesn't matter too much. So I'm just going to go in and sort of smear some in, and sort of just to sort of blend those, there's not such a harsh line round, you know, where the cogs are, sort of thing. I'm just adding this quite sort of lightly all the way around. I'm not being too heavy with it. It just gives it a little bit of a, you know, a texture. Just get that off because I'd gone down the side a bit there and we don't really want that. Done it on a few of them. I'm just going to wipe that off and smear it on. There we go. We don't really want it down the side too much. Right, I think I'll leave it like that. And I'll just dry that off with the heat gun. So luckily this does dry quite nicely under a heat gun, so it does just take a little bit while, so I am sorry about that. I did sort of say I'd try and get some doubles so that I could have one prepared, but yeah, I didn't think about that again. Do you know what I've just spotted, which I should get rid of? Where's my pokey tool? There it is. I'm just, because I've got some texture paste just in the centre of the clock piece there, which I really don't want. Otherwise we're not going to get the mechanism through, are we? So just clean that out, and then I'm just going to dry it off. Everything tangled up in the cable for the heat gun here. If you've never used texture paste before, it is a lovely thing. It's a lovely medium to work with. I think it's one of them things that usually gets pushed at the back of the cupboard and then you forget about, and then you pull out and then just want to use it on everything because it's so great. I mean, you can use it on your stencils, like on cards, you know, and stencil through it just like I have, but on card. Yeah, there's so many projects that you could use it on. I tell you what it is also good for, if you want to sort of create like beach themes and stuff. The sand paste one is really good for that. And then you can paint it like a sandy colour and create like a beachy scene. We've done that before now, that works really well. Let's just see how long it is. Drying quite nicely here. And hi Lucy. Hopefully it won't take too long to do on the heat gun. It does look fabulous on beach scenes. We use that a lot, and it layers a treat. Yeah, it really does. I think it's one of them mediums that can be quite addictive, isn't it? That you can't sort of put it down and... Yeah. I mean, it's great, even if you just sort of smear it on, sort of like I've done in these areas. That's how I would create sort of a sandy scene. Just keep sort of adding a few smeared layers like that. It's sort of great for... That one's quite... picking up quite a bit there, so I'm just trying to push that down. But yeah, there's just so many different ways it can be used. It's great fun. Sorry, I'm just keep checking just to see how dry it is and where I need to dry it off. We are getting there though, it's nearly there. Hopefully it'll be just dry enough for me to paint. Still a little bit wet there, so on those raised areas it is taking a little bit longer to dry. Wet there as well. We're nearly there. Right, hopefully we can make a start on painting this up. Now, when I do this, I'm just going to go in with some random colours. I said you could have probably gessoed the background, but I think because I'm going for quite dull and random colours at the minute, I don't think it matters too much. So I'm just going to dry my paintbrush off. I was using it a little while ago. So I think we're going to go for the multi-surface paint in chestnut brown. I might include a bit of Christmas red and perhaps some green, and of course rusty metal wouldn't be rusty metal without a bit of teal in there, would it? I'm also going to, right at the end, probably use a little bit of wax paste on this just to sort of give it a bit of a metallic look. But we'll do that right at the end. I think maybe I'll start off with the, actually no, let's go with the, no, I will start off with brown first. So I'm literally just gonna, I'm probably gonna do brown as the more sort of dominant colour here. And then sort of probably go in over with the lighter colours. So the only thing with this is you really have to sort of work it into that texture paste. Just to cover up all them white areas. I said you will see that I'm sort of missing areas. That is because I am going to add in some other sort of random colours here. Turn it round. I'm quite surprised. I don't normally work on the texture paste this quickly after applying it. Usually I leave it sort of naturally to dry for a while, but it has actually worked really well just to paint over, just with drying from a heat gun, which is good to know, because if you are sort of a bit impatient, like me sometimes. I find it really hard to sort of start a project and then have to wait and leave it to dry for ages. I don't know if anybody else is like that. It's sort of the excitement of kind of getting going with it. Sorry, I'm dipping in and out whilst having my hair done. I think I'm going to love this. Oh, don't worry, Mum. I knew you was having it done, so... trying to apply it quite thickly as well, the paint, because I'm hoping not to have to give it a second coat. Right, I think maybe I might sort of leave it there. I think we'll just dry this off. I can then go in with another colour. Turning it around a little bit. I'm not going to dry it off properly, I'm just drying it off just enough so that I can go in with another colour and it's not going to, you know, all turn to brown. Right, I'm now going to just dry that brush off on a kitchen roll. And let's go in with some red now. Oh, if I can get the lid off. I always do the lids up so tight and then can never get back into them. So I'm going to be really random now with these sort of other colours. I'm just applying sort of some random, you know, blocks of colour and filling in those areas that I haven't painted brown. It's quite nice to have left some actually, because you're then getting sort of two different tones, the darker tones of red where it's going over the brown, and then the lighter where it's just going over the white, if that makes sense. Probably looks a real mess at the moment, doesn't it? But I said it does kind of make sense towards the end, hopefully. I think as soon as I saw this clock on the website, I knew that I had to do this with the texture paste and the cog stencil. It's just a must. And like I said, with Christmas coming up, I mean, you could either gift like a complete kit, you know, do a little DIY kit, couldn't you, with some texture paste, the stencil, the clock, and gift it to somebody to make themselves. or you could sort of make it up for someone and do it as a gift, or get the kids to do it and, you know, do a present for sort of, you know, the grandparents or something. Going to fill in these last areas with some red. Just making sure that I'm just covering all that white, or as much of that white as I can. I still have a few more colours to use on this, just, you know, at the minute. But I'm trying to cover up as much as I can now. Right, which I think I've just about done. And there are a few areas where I have actually missed. It's quite hard to tell straight away because you sort of do it and paint sort of sinks in and it then reveals the areas you've missed. Right, I think we'll leave it there with the red. That would make a fab gift. They certainly would. I said either as a kit for somebody to make, or as just you could make it up yourself. I'm just going to dry that off a little bit. I'm not going to spend too long drying the red. This would actually make a great, like, granddad gift for if he's got like a bit of a, you know, in the sort of shed or something even, or a little, I don't know, can you still call them man caves? You know, sort of in a room like that. They'd go quite well, I think. So I'm now just going in with some green. And sort of blending it into those other colours. I think you can get quite carried away actually, just adding all the different sort of colours, you know, layers and everything of paint. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could sort of keep it to sort of one colour, I guess. Like I said, I want to go for sort of a real, like, rustic metal you know, rustic metal looking cog. I'm just going to tone some of this red down a bit because I have got quite a lot of red in there. Right, Now I'm not going to bother drying the green. I'm just going to go in, I think, with the teal. I might just dry my brush off a little bit though, so I'm not mixing the paints too much. I'm just going to use this bit off the lid, I think. And again, just sort of really randomly apply the teal colour. Just going to blend that out a bit. Obviously, if you wanted to go a bit more teal coloured, then you could just do that. It depends what colours you prefer, I guess, doesn't it? You could also add in like a darker, there's a gorgeous, what's that other blue that, I think that's a nice colour, that would be quite nice, that ocean. That would probably look quite nice on here. I'm not going to add it now though, I'm just going to stick to these colours. Sometimes it's hard to know when to stop, isn't it, when you're crafting? You just get carried away and just keep adding and adding and adding. I always find I'm terrible at, like, you know, people do these gorgeous, like, clean and simple things. I'm not very good at that. I find that quite hard because I just, like I said, just keep adding. And in the end, it's not a clean and simple card. It's sort of got tons of embellishments and added bits on. I think we're nearly there with the blue, the teal rather. I don't do clean. Oh, hi Margaret. I don't do clean and simple. Yeah, it's a real, I think clean and simple is a real knack, isn't it? It's just, yeah, it's something I find really hard. Maybe we should all do a challenge and see if we can make some clean and simple cards. But I think it is just a matter of knowing when to stop, isn't it? Those colours work really well together. Thank you. Right, I'm just washing my brush off. Right, now I am going to try and dry this because for the next stage I do want it quite dry. Yeah, I mean, I said you can fiddle around with colours, you could add it, sort of, you could do it a lot, you know, a lot darker if you wanted it, sort of more brown areas, more red. You could do it however. I think you're one or the other. I think you're right. You are, yeah, most definitely, Margaret. I mean, I don't know. They should be fairly easy because in theory you're just not putting that much onto them. And people do some really amazing ones. But yeah, no, I'm not one of those people. I don't think. I would have paint everywhere by now. You're keeping it so nice and clean. Oh, I am covered. I actually, normally I put a glass mat down actually to do the painting on, but I've got another project on my glass mat at the moment that is currently all dumped in my kitchen, all over my kitchen, and that is covered in paint. But yeah, normally I am covered. It's usually all down my top and everything. I should really get myself an apron. Right, I think we're about there. Maybe you need to some of that's crafty aprons, Laura, with the logo on it. That'd be nice. Nice black ones or something with the logo on. Right, what am I looking for? Now, wax pastes. Now, I think I used these, would it have been on my last live? I think it might have been on the little cheese board that I did. These are great. There's quite a few colours, I think, on the website. I can't remember off the top of my head what colours there are. I get paint everywhere. Yeah, I usually do. Usually it's in my hair and everything. So, yeah, I'm not a clean crafter. I am very messy. Yeah, I'm surprised it is as contained as it is at the minute, to be honest. Yeah, anyway, so there's quite a lot of these colours on the website at the minute. They are lovely. I'm going to have to build my collection up and get a few more, I think. So I've got here the gold. Is it gold? What's the colour of this one? Yeah, just gold. And what's that one? Turtle green. I really love this turtle green. It is lovely. Yeah, I said I think there's a lovely red colour, which actually the red would go so well on here. I think that's going to be next on my order list. They are a must-have, I think, in the collection. Now, you can apply these with your finger if you want to. I'm someone that I don't really like, especially when there's like textures like this. I don't like it on my finger. So what I tend to use is like one of these really hard bristle paint brushes. I'm not sure what sort of hair is on them. It's a really tough bristly one. So I tend to keep them just for the wax pastes. I don't use this on anything else. I tend not to put it in the water and clean it properly. What I usually do is just sort of, if I'm changing colours, just brush it off on the side of the paper. At least it shows you're having fun. Well, yeah, exactly. It's just not great when you're crafting and then you've got to go out a little bit later on and you realise you're covered in paint. But never mind. Yeah, so I just usually brush it off on on a piece of scrap paper or a little bit of kitchen roll if you're changing colours, like I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to go in with gold first. Now, I'm barely sort of dipping it in. What you can do is brush some off on the lid. I tend to do that, so I dab it in the pot and then sort of dab on the lid, and then you just sort of really lightly going to brush it over that texture. So you don't want to really work it in and push into the grooves. You know, I'm literally just going to concentrate on that textured area and sort of brush it over. And I'm more or less going to do this on all the texture. Sorry, it is going to take me a little while. Hopefully I don't bore you too much from doing this. Let's go in there. And you can just see I'm just lightly going over it and it's really picking up that texture. I don't know if you can see it. I'll see if I can hold it up a little bit. I'll hold it up now. Sorry, there's such a delay on this, so hopefully you can see that there. I will hold it up a little bit closer at the end. Again, we went to a pub after a workshop with red hands and did say we hadn't murdered anyone yet. Oh dear. That's the only thing with working with it. And inks as well. Even like just working with, you know, distress inks, oxides, sprays. You know, I think I seem to permanently have, you know, like coloured fingertips or whatever. I'm not sure about going in with red hands. You could have probably put on a like a Halloween costume with that. You just scared the life out of everyone. I just knocked the foam there, sorry. My paintbrush is rather long and it's not it's actually too long to fit underneath the distance you know, between my phone and the where I'm working. So this stuff, I will say, because I've used a lot of like, I think you can call them, are they gilding pastes and stuff? I'm not sure now. I've used a lot in the past, but this is the nicest smelling one. I think Laura did actually say that it's supposed to smell of oranges, which it does actually have a bit of an orange scent to it. It does smell quite nice. It hasn't got that usual sort of metallic-y smell that most of them have. Oh, thank you, Joe. Now, because this area doesn't actually have much of the texture paste on, I'm just going to go in and just add some gold in the blank areas there. It's probably really hard to see, isn't it, on the camera? This sort of the gold bit that I'm adding, but it just gives it a really nice sort of metallic-y look. So it brings out the you know, the texture so lovely. I always quite like as well, if you're creating sort of you know, an MDF project, even with paper or whatever on, I really like going around the edge with these pastes, just to sort of finish it off, sort of, you know, well, when I mean the edge, I mean like the top edge here, but also the side edge, rather than just leaving it sort of brown, or in my case it's probably covered in paint in areas. You know, you can just add a little bit of the wax paste and it just finishes it off so nicely. Right, we are nearly at the end now with gold. That's really making a difference. I don't know if it's really picking up that well on the camera, but it does. It's, yeah, I think it gives it such a lovely effect. I said, I think the red colour in this would go really lovely on this clock. It would give a really nice, you know, red rust look. Right, we are nearly there now. Right, that's it, I think, with the gold. Now, I've covered all the texture in the gold. I mean, you can see I didn't actually use that much of that. There's still so much in there. I think a little of this does go quite a long way, which is why I kept dabbing it off in the lid. This is something that you'll probably have for a very long time. So what I'm just doing is just trying to dab off as much of that excess gold. I should have really done it on there, shouldn't I? But I'm just trying to get it off, not put more on. I think that's about as much as I'm going to get off. And then again, I'm going to go in with some green and just add some green tones. I don't think this is going to show up very well at all on camera actually while I'm like this. I probably won't add too much of the green, sorry. I'm just sort of randomly dotting this colour. And again, it's just to bring out that texture. Let's do a bit over here. Yeah, I think this is such a gorgeous green. I think it'll be used on quite a lot. It's sort of a nice sort of, you know, muted green. It's really lovely. Right, do you know what? I think I'm just going to leave it there with the green because I think you kind of get the idea. I said what I'm probably going to do, I'm not going to do it on camera, but what I will do sort of once I've finished, I'll just show you, is just kind of dab it in there, and I think I'll colour the edges with the wax. I don't know if you can see, I'm not doing it very well at the moment, but it just colours it just a little, gives it a hint of colour. But I'll probably do that all the way around, but I won't do that on camera because it will take me for ages. So I'll probably do that off camera. Just, you know, it just kind of finishes it off, I think. Right, now I'm going to pop this to the side for a moment, and I'm going to grab my numbers. Let's clean my brush. So, and for these, I'm just going to paint black. I'm just going to use some black gesso. And I'm leaving them in the little, you know, their little bit. Don't know what you call that, but you know what I mean, their casing, just so they don't fly everywhere. I'm not going to take them out until the very last minute, because I said I do have a habit of losing everything. I think particularly on a live. Right, hopefully I only need to give that the one coat. So let me dry that off and we'll have a look. I think actually when you're painting all this stuff, a heat gun is just a must. It really helps to speed everything up, speed the process up. Right, I think that'll be okay. I don't think I'll need to give that another coat. I'm just popping the lid back on my gesso so I don't knock it over, and clean my brush off. Right, I'll leave that in there. So I think we will put the numbers on first. So for the numbers, I'm going to stick them on with some heavy bodied gel. I'm going to find my little pokey tool. There it is. And I'm now just going to pop all these numbers out and sort of roughly pop them into place. I'm popping them out from the bag just so I don't scratch the paint off. So as I said, I think when I was applying the texture paste, I tried to do it so there wasn't much texture around these areas, because if you start putting the stencil on these areas, it'd probably be more difficult to stick down. Let's pop out that little bit on the floor. Sticking to me. I'm trying to not pop out too many and have them all laid in the middle, because knowing me, I said I'll ping it somewhere. So that's why I'm sort of taking my time a bit and trying to pop the little bits out to the side so that they're not in the way. So they should sort of go. I'm not going to put them right on the tips of the clock. I'm sort of going to do it just down a little bit. Right, so I'm going to grab my little spatula thing and just sort of dab some on the back. Now I want it a little bit raised because obviously where it is textured, I don't want to put too much, but just enough for it to go in them areas. Whoop. This is where I'm going to make a mess because it's fiddly. Luckily it does dry clear. Now I've only recently started using heavy body gel and it is great. Ooh. Where I'm going to make a right mess. So you can see I'm sort of dabbing it on so it's a bit raised, just so it grabs. Sort of in between that texture. It's where I make a right mess out of my fingers. So I do recommend making sure that you've got it sort of, you know, you're sitting with it straight so that you're not sticking the numbers down wonky. I often tend to sort of work on the squiff. I like to stick things down and stuff on the side, but with something like this, obviously you do want them numbers nice and straight. There's a bit of hard piece there. I'm just going to get rid of that bit. I'm going to be nice and sticky after this. Moved that. I'm going to put a bit more of that on because I moved it and it's seeped into all the grooves, not in the right place. Luckily, doing it on the screen, you can sort of see, I can look up and sort of see if they're somewhat straight. Right, nearly there with the numbers. I said it does sort of dry clear. So although you can sort of see it at the minute, hopefully later those white marks shouldn't be there. Right, last number. Right, we're there. I think that's straight. I'm just looking on the camera so I don't have to sort of lean over. No, that's not quite straight, is it? That's right, and hopefully that's a bit better. Keep moving it. Right, we'll leave it at that. Hopefully that'll be okay. Right, now I'm not going to lift that up too much because I don't really want them all falling off, but that is most of the clock done. It's now just a case of putting the mechanism back together. So I'm hoping it goes through the hole okay. I'm just going to keep twisting it. There we go. And that's right through. And then let's grab a little bit. So I feel like I can't feel anything at the minute because I've got so much paint and stuff on my hands. Right, so I believe it's that one first, isn't it? Then the little gold washer. And then we've got that bit there. And I do have a doodah to tighten it up. Actually, I can probably use my fingers for some of it. Now, don't tighten it too tight because otherwise it will not work. But obviously you've got to have it tight enough so that it's not going to fall off or anything. So I'm just going to hold it underneath. Sorry, it's probably going to have trouble focusing. Still not quite tight enough. Okay, I think That is right, isn't it? Or have I, is that black bit supposed to go on the back, Laura? Have I done this wrong? It's been a while since I've done one. I can't remember. I know it was there when I took it off, but that could have just been you know, just so it doesn't, we don't lose it. I'm not sure. I haven't even got anything to try and look, because I did do one of these a while back. I can't, do you know, I can't remember either now. Do you know what? I think we'll leave it there. We'll go with it on that bit. I've got a feeling when I done my other one, I just had the gold piece there. Perhaps what I'll have to do is look it up and look what I've done on the other clock, and then I'll have to get back to you and I'll change it if it's wrong. So a bit later on, I'll put a post up with the you know, with exactly what way round it should go. I don't know why, I've just got this inkling that the black piece should go on the back as a bit of a support. I could be completely wrong there. I'm probably just confusing matters, aren't I? But yeah, we'll see if we'll figure it out, and we'll pop a post up a little bit later with the correct way. Right, now what you're going to do is, when you're putting these on, obviously be a little bit careful. I'm just trying to check. So one of the holes is slightly larger than the other one. So you want to put that one on first. I hope I've got this right. I'm pretty sure I have. So you want to put that one on first. And I'm just pushing that down very gently. Ideally, you want them sort of facing a number, and then go with the second one and pop that on. I've looked on the pic of the blank one, and the black piece goes on. Yeah, I thought that was the case. Right, I'm going to just fix that. If I can pop this off. I should have really looked it up before going live, shouldn't I? But I said, with being locked out of me getting locked in the craft room, it sort of, everything just went wrong. And I think I was panicking about going live on YouTube, and as you know, that didn't work. Right, so let's do this right. So I'm going to take this piece back out. I'm just going to wiggle it out. So this piece put on first on the back. On the back one, and the black piece goes on the back. Yeah, so that's right. So put the rubber piece on the back, and then screw it in. Then you've got your little gold piece. I didn't think that looked right. I said it's been a while. So screw that in, and then where did my tool go? There it is. And then just tighten that, but again, don't do it too tight, because otherwise your clock will not work. So I'm just going to pick it up and hold the back, just so that I can sort of feel roughly how tight I'm doing this. A little bit more, I think we'll leave it at that. Right, now we can put the hands on properly. So again, your larger one goes on first. And I think I've smeared that with a bit of gold. I'll rub that off later. Then that hand. I'll put that on right, yeah. That one should just pop on. And then this is your final one. That just pops on the top. So hopefully, yeah, I think that's right. And then you've got your little dial on the back that you can set the clock to. we got there in the end. So yeah, I'm obviously going to leave that to dry for a little, like the numbers and everything to dry, and then I'll go around the edge with the with that wax paste. But yeah, so that's how you do the clock, or how I did this style of clock. Obviously there's so many different ways you could decorate it, and if you do get one, we'd love to see how you do it. I think hopefully Jo will post a picture later on of her version, so you can see how she done it. But just because I've done it these colours, obviously you don't have to do it these colours. You could just do it just literally brown and some gold. That would look lovely. You know, the gold would actually really pop against that nice brown. There's just so many possibilities. It looks fabulous. Really making a difference. Wow, looks amazing. Well, thank you for all your comments. I think, as I said, Laura, perhaps when you've got a minute, just let me know and we'll have a bit of a play around and see if we can get live again on YouTube and just figure out how that works, because it'd be nice to do some YouTube lives, really. I think I don't know if we'll sort of get some different people on there. I don't know, but it might be worth a try. Love it. Oh, thank you. Really fabulous. We'll take a picture tomorrow. Okay, so Jo's going to pop a picture on tomorrow. Look forward to seeing that one, Jo. Right, well, thank you all for joining me, and thank you. Laura's been busy putting all the links during the live, so do go through and you'll be able to find all the products that I've used on those links. And I should be back in 2 weeks. Now again, I'm afraid I didn't look the date up. I'm really not organised at all, am I? Yeah, so 2 weeks I'll be back. And is Jo live next week? Perhaps, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Laura will sort of get in before I disappear. So Jo might be live next Monday, and I will be live again the week after, so 2 weeks time on the Wednesday. I am on Monday at 11, yeah, so do join Jo at 11 o'clock, and then I'll be back the following week at 1 o'clock again. I'm not sure yet whether it'll be on Facebook or YouTube. It all depends if we can get it all figured out. We'll see. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and yeah, I'll see you all. My next live is the 17th of December. That's the one. Thank you. I should have known that date because I'm actually going away for a couple of days after that. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for that, Laura. Yeah, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you for joining me. Bye.